What is good, everybody? Hello. Let me make sure y'all can see. Oh my goodness. If you don't know what this is, my smoothie game is strong. And it is smoothie o'clock. I had my 6-month dental appointment today. And around or before those, or even after those, after they clean your teeth, you can't really eat or drink things. So that is my epic solution. I have a really great smoothie game. So if you ever need recipes, let me know. Superfoods, all the goodness is straight up in here. So I'm really excited about that because I have back-to-back things today. Oh, you always find me chugging this. And this even tells you basically like cheers you on as you're drinking water, which I need. I didn't ever grow up drinking enough water, but let's dive into this word. So ideally, you would be building your life on truth and having a firm foundation to stand on and live from. I know I'm somebody who did not do that, didn't know how to do that. And then when I was interested finally in doing that, I wasn't sure how to apply truth to my life or integrate what I was receiving in the form of revelation or wisdom or discernment into my life and get really consistent with that. So I had this idea. Ideally, again, you would do this every day. But even if you just had your own list of Thursday truths, I recommend just creating notes. So if you have an iPhone, you probably have notes on your phone. I have so freaking many of these. It's just what I do. I'm a writer, so I write. But you can list them out on a Word document. I am old school also, so you could just do pen and paper as well. But even just setting a timer on your phone and having some time to reflect what is true for you, because a lot of times we feel out of alignment because we're not living our truth, right? And somebody will say that like such a simple statement that we're just supposed to get it. But unless you really own your truth and you know what your truth is, it's really a hard and challenging concept to grasp, okay? Or to really get in an authentic and personal way. So I'm going to take you through some Thursday truths that I dropped over on the gram today. If you're not following me over there, you can follow me at Miss Juliana Page. You can also connect to all of my platforms if you go to my website, julianapage.com. But let's see here. Okay, so I'm just going to reference this post and walk you through some of my Tuesday truth. The point would be that you can come up with your own list, and you don't have to come up with a certain number. Just list the things that are true for you. It could even be, you probably heard this example, like writing a letter to your younger self, or even writing a letter to yourself now from your future self. But exercises like that, I know in the beginning they seem whack. You're like, that seems really weird. It doesn't make sense. But it starts getting you to think outside of the realm of your logic and outside of the realm of your common sense. And it's using your imagination in a way that's not habitual, that's not subconscious, that you just keep doing all the time. And that when you're open to thinking outside the box and trying on these different things, that often is when you come up with a lot of compelling things. All right. And you can question your beliefs too. Do I really believe that? Is that really my truth? Do I stand for that? Do I want to show up that way? And it just helps you live aligned if you're constantly checking in versus having to do it at the start of a new year or when something bad happens and you're forced into mandatory reflection. Okay, so Thursday truths. Imagine if every Thursday you create a list of what's true for you. Again, do this every day or even just have a gratitude list, but you get the idea. Do you realize how much clarity and conviction you'd uncover? A ton, trust me. Let alone if you sought after truth and lived it daily rather than consuming and chasing. So if we don't understand what our truth is, ultimately we're living by someone else's. And the way the world's set up, a lot of times that's for us to consume because we're never happy, we're never content. So that puts us on a path to go after things, to chase after things, to consume things rather than to be content, to own who we are, to live from that secure place and to create different. Okay, so here is my first Thursday truth. Stop suppressing your voice. Stop suppressing your voice. It only leads to anger turned inwards, which anger turned inwards manifests in really interesting ways. A lot of times it's disease because there's dis-ease in your body, eating disorders, toxicity, shame, and thought patterns of self-hatred that only waste your time. For real, for real. And I can say this because I know it to be true. It's not just a statement. Process. Learn to process in healthy ways. I didn't have a present strong mother figure. I actually had 3 throughout the course of my life that really did not nurture, encourage, comfort. A lot of things that a mother would stand in and deliver weren't there because of their own journey. So I really did not know how to process in healthy ways, and that manifested in interesting ways over the course of my life. A lot of perfectionism, a lot of achievements, a lot of self-criticism that I was using to push myself to excel. But although that's accepted, it was really destructive to me personally. So watch the lies you partner with, even what you repost. So a lot of times we're just on social media, which doesn't encourage independent thinking. And we just repost things because we're like, yeah, felt that. But be careful what you're reinforcing too, because it might not actually be truth. And it could sound like truth, but actually not be truth. If you're always being erratic about your appearance and worried about time, gravity, and wrinkles. So for women, this is like, I don't like the cellulite on my legs, or my eyebrows aren't shaped correctly, or my nose needs this done to it, or I need Botox, or I need a boob lift, or whatever these things are, right? If you're constantly caught up in that and worried about having wrinkles and all these things, you'll spend and for guys, this could be different. It could be cars, it could be a house, it could be a certain bank account number, it could be so many things, right? So we're all given different programming, right? But you've got to challenge it is the point. If you are erratic about all of that, you'll spend all of the time you could be using to grow and develop, to build a business and contribute. You'll spend all of that time consuming evil, pointless nonsense because it's all vanity. Where does that actually get you? How does that advance you? How does that even move you forward? Okay. Be brave, prioritize the inner work, then be seen and open the door for others. It's worth it to change the world, starting with your world, right? So when you suppress your voice, when we basically train ourselves that our voice doesn't matter, or that expressing ourselves or our emotions or our thoughts or opinions don't matter, that goes down and we just suppress it. And then we don't know how to express ourselves. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to hold healthy boundaries. We don't know how to say no sometimes, or we never say yes to things. It just starts to manifest in really funky ways. And there's no pain like living an untold story in yourself, right? So stop suppressing your voice. That's number 1. Number 2, stop glorifying the hustle. Stop glorifying the hustle. Remember the one who gives you the power to prosper and create wealth. AKA stop the search and seek the source, right? One of the things I knew personally that I'd regret having been on the receiving end of experiencing this was spending all of my life working. I grew up in an environment where there were the aholics, the alcoholic, the workaholic, right? And I do believe that there is so much to be praised about having strong work ethic. However, I believe in purposeful and spirit-led work, not just being a workaholic or standing on that because that's all you know how to do. I believe that I was given a gift to see what was lost in all of the busyness and all of the doing, and really apart from God, what couldn't be restored, meaning relationships, quality time, getting to know your child, right? I have parents that don't even know me to this day because there wasn't an investment. They weren't there. It was just like, your basic needs are met, so you should be good. And that's probably one of the worst things that a child could feel because it communicates a message of neglect, unworthiness, being devalued, being unappreciated, not being seen, not being heard. And it really, really is destructive. So I thought, even when I was a kid, probably around like 8 or 9, that if I ever had kids, because when you're growing up, you like fantasize about these things. You, as a woman, you're learning how to play with dolls and like, imagine. So even as a kid, I thought I want my kids to remember my love and my presence, not just my achievements. It's a big one. All right. Next one. Stop consuming media. I achieved a bachelor's in journalism and economics management. And in that time, I learned experientially how destructive the media is to your soul and really what's operating behind the scenes in media to brainwash you, to manipulate you, and to spin any sane human into insanity and depression. For real, for real. So because of that, I was like, oh, Lord, I cannot go into media. So I went and got a master's in film production because I really was hungry to change the limited stories and the calculated stories that we see and what's reinforced. And when I saw that I wasn't necessarily strong enough to do that yet, I became certified as a professional coach years ago now, probably 15 years ago now, because I was going to master me first, because I knew that I needed to master my behind the scenes so that I could pay that anointing that I earned in all of that forward, because I couldn't give what I didn't have. So stop consuming media. Really, really, really pursue what feeds your soul instead. Celebrate diversity and wholeness. Determined to turn all of the trauma that's happened to you into gold. That's why if you ever look at any of my books, I always have this fingerprint, this gold fingerprint, because I believe that God marks us, right? Okay. Get up, get better, and go out and help people relentlessly. Look at all of the years of hurt and pain that you survived as the reason that you're an empathetic, compassionate, driven, emotionally intelligent, and generous person, not a complacent, empty person. So celebrate who you've become because of this. Like heal, grow, move through it, and celebrate who you become because you survived that process and you grew through it. Become active resistance against anything that challenges your value. Ain't nobody got time for that, as they say, right? Don't allow shame and guilt, because there's no shame. No, there's no condemnation for those that are in Christ, right? Don't allow shame and guilt to be weaponized against you. Even if it's yourself, don't allow that. These are non-things, right? A lot of times we make it up. It's a lie that have been created to keep you in submission, and you must banish those things immediately in order to live happy. You will never be happy if you are constantly living against yourself. Straight up. Okay. Make sure, this one's like the complete opposite. Make sure to be affectionate. We are so starved of affection, and we can't allow it to become foreign to us. A lot of times we can't have and experience real intimacy, which we all crave. And intimacy is intimacy. It's not just sexual, right? But we all crave this closeness. We all crave that connection, being seen, heard, valued, appreciated, accepted. And it's often the very thing that we close off in trying to have it all together, and in not being vulnerable, and in not having to have all the answers, and not being perfect. So work on your gratitude. If you are grateful and content, you beat the system and you will prevail. If you're grateful and content, then others haven't managed to control you, basically, right? You are no longer a pawn in the game of consumerism. So when you are happy and content, you can use wisdom in how you show up and how you make decisions. All right. Final message. You are God's masterpiece. Be bold and willing to show up and serve, even if it means challenging the unpopular. And often it will be. Yeah. You can be happy and successful. It's not just one or the other. So my challenge to you on today, you've heard some of the truths that I came up with, just having that prompt of a Thursday truth. Like, what are the Thursday truths that you would want to tell your younger self, that you would want to remind yourself of, that you would tell to a child, that you would tell to a friend, to a sister, someone to encourage them, to save them a learning curve, right? What would you tell them? And my challenge to you on today is, what is one truth that you need to remind yourself of today? Maybe you've been striving and striving and striving, and you just need to release the things that you can't control. Maybe you've been giving yourself excuses and you just need to take action. Maybe you need to call that person because you keeping offense in your heart is incredibly destructive. Maybe you need to make a covenant and a commitment with yourself and write it on paper, make a contract, right? That you're not going to shame and live your life against yourself anymore. Maybe it's writing a letter from your future self to you, but just write down at least one thing that you need to be reminded of today and put it on an index card and carry that sucker around with you so that it really sinks in. And when you own it, you'll know because you'll live like it. All right, so I hope this message blessed you. I encourage you, if it helps, to use the acronym Thursday Truths to do this every Thursday and see how many amazing things that you can come up with. You can even keep a running list of them, but it'll probably surprise you. And the more you see it, the more you meditate on it, the more you'll be able to live from it because you'll have that conviction. All right, guys, if you want to connect with me, again, go visit at Miss Juliana Page on Instagram. You can find out about different courses and coaching. And what else? What else is over there? So many good things. Just go check out julianapage.com. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. And if this truly was beneficial to you, make sure that you copy the link and share it with a friend. All right, guys, until next time, stay blessed. Bye.